Project Fearless, we believe that all personality types, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you have a story to share, and you can make an impact with that story. I remember when I first started Project Fearless, or rather before Project Fearless was even a thing, and I was working on it behind the scenes, I was embarrassed to share my story. People always asked, what are you doing? And I would stumble through, oh, I don't know, I'm making this thing, or like we're gonna empower girls through sport and creative stuff, but I wasn't owning it. And I'm so thankful that somebody told me, hold on, you have a great vision, but own your story. What's your journey? People relate to your journey. So I'm not gonna lie, it was awkward at first, being vulnerable and telling people how I even got to the part of starting to create Project Fearless, but then also telling my story with conviction. But just like anything, the more you practice something, the more you do it, the better you refine it, and the more powerful your message becomes. Once I started really telling my story, the journey, the why, the how I got there, and what I was planning on doing, I was blown away about how many people related to my story, but also wanted to support me, who wanted to connect me with somebody, who wanted to help me with the impact I was preparing to make. And now you may be thinking, okay, that's great. You had a story, but you also have now an impact that you're making. And the really important part of this story was my journey. How did I even get to the point of knowing which impact I was going to make? How did I get to the point of realizing, right, I'm going to quit my corporate job after 7.5 years and take a leap into the nonprofit world? So that's what I want to help you do, is discover what is your impact? How is that authentic to your voice? And then figure out how you can practice sharing your story. I was working in a corporate environment for 7.5 years as an advanced concept designer, which had like a really cool, sexy title. And the company I worked for was really cool. And I loved the people I was working for, but it never hit with me internally. I always felt there was something missing. So a couple years before I quit my corporate job, I was pretty unhappy. I was feeling unfulfilled. I felt like, what is my purpose? What am I doing here? But I was so spiraled in this fear of like, what am I doing? I'm not doing something that aligns with me. I couldn't even answer what aligns with me because I was too busy looking for what's next. What is going to be that answer? Going to an interview, going to another company. And I remember going to a workshop that was about developing your innovation. And I remember calling them ahead of time to say, just double checking, I don't need an innovation yet. I just need the idea that I wanted to start an innovation. Like, yeah, this is perfect for you. So I go to this workshop and I'm a little fragile. I'm going to be honest. I was exhausted from trying to find my why, trying to find my what. And I was, I felt a little bit out of my depths, but I thought, okay, well, I'm in a good place with other people who thought the same. And halfway through this day, I quickly realized that I'm the only person in the room that not only doesn't have an idea, but more than half the people have already started on their idea and making a business. So people are asking questions like, what do I do when consumer A and consumer B don't get along or don't agree? Or what do I do when this employee or that employee have different ideas of success? So I had to get vulnerable and I had to get fearless because I was frustrated of putting my head against the wall of thinking, I want to do something else, but what is it? And I raised my hand and the tears had started to rise and my nose was like tingling. And I said, what if all I want to do in life is to help others and be happy? And I remember the facilitator took a moment and said, well, put on your oxygen mask before helping others. If you set your North Star that you want to help others, you will help others. But first, you got to recognize within yourself and save yourself first. And that was such a light bulb moment that immediately relinquished the pressure of like, I have to figure it out now. I had already set that North Star. I set that North Star was, I want to help others. And in turn, I know I'll be happy. So then I worked back from there. Yeah, right, Lilu? I didn't finish the rest of the workshop because I don't think it was valid for me, but I got what I needed out of that workshop. And I went home and I started thinking, okay, well, what makes me the best me? When am I the most fearlessly Merida? When am I most the authentic leader? When do I feel happiest? When do I feel like I'm helping others? And that's when I came up with Project Fearless. This term, find your why, is thrown out a lot, and especially thrown out with brands and in marketing. However, I do believe finding your why is really important, but I think what's more important than that is finding your impact. I don't use the term my why, I use the term my guidepost. I know there's 3 things in my life that when I'm doing them, they make me the most authentically me. And I believe when I'm the most authentically me, I'm creating the best impact, which then affects others. So the exercise that we'll do, which maybe will help you find your why or your impact, is I want you to take a piece of paper and draw a Venn diagram with 3 circles. In each of those circles, I want you to write, what was I doing? The next circle, I want you to write, what was I feeling? And the next circle, I want you to write, who was I around? Now I want you to think back to the one time in your life. This could be a job, it could be a 5-minute instance in a race, it could be anything big or small, where you felt you were the most authentically you and you were the happiest. So that might take some time. This is an exercise that will take maybe a week or so, and you can ask others, hey, when did you think I was the happiest in my life? They may not have the answer, but it will get your thoughts going. For me, I was the happiest when I was teaching those with disabilities to ski and snowboard. So that would be the that'd be the title of my Venn diagram, adaptive snow instructor. So what was I doing? I was being physically active. I recognize that that's really important to me. I'm learning through doing. I like to fall physically and I like to get back up. And I was helping others to be that way too. Who was I around? I was around a team of people who let me feel empowered and I could empower them. Mr. Zuckerman, he was there, so he was empowering me. I was on a team. That's important too to recognize. Some people actually will recognize I was my best me when I was by myself, and that's okay. The third is, what was I feeling? It wasn't just happy. What was I feeling? I was feeling I was making an impact. I felt that I was making an impact that lasted further than just one person. It was a ripple effect. Empowered people empower people. So this is my Venn diagram. And I knew that this was my why. My next journey, my next step, so if I was leaving my corporate job, whatever I was doing needed to hit smack dab in the center. It needed to be a space that I could be physically active. It needed to be in space where I could create an impact and empower people, and it needed to be a space I could have a team. So now I'll use these as my guidepost. Whether it was building Project Fearless or going after something else, I know that I'm creating my best impact when I'm hitting all 3 of those points. So you found your why, you found your guidepost, now it's sharing your story, whatever that story may be. Whether it's your journey you want to share, a piece of your journey, your future, or where you hope to go, or your present. Start sharing your story and start being authentic and owning your story. I remember for me, when I first started Project Fearless, it was really important that I had a team. If you can remember, my guidepost, being on a team was really important. So for me, when I first started Project Fearless, it was just me. However, my North Star was to have a team. I remember when I first started telling my story and authentically pitching, I would say, we at Project Fearless. And people would ask, well, who's we? And sometimes at the very beginning, to be honest, I didn't have a we. However, the more I started talking about it as a we, the more people felt, oh, this is a community that she wants to build. Oh, maybe I could be part of that community. My team grew very quick and is continuing to grow. So I'd say, own your story, find your why, and set your North Star.